What is going on, you guys? It is Unsweetened Tea here, back again with another video. And today, hit over 200 subscribers, like 2 weeks ago. So for my last subscriber special, I did, like my mega game room tour, and I showed basically like all the consoles I own, all the games I have over here, and kind of gave you like a brief opinion on them. I've talked about some games that I like, but I've never really given a definitive answer of my top 10 games. So what I figured was, for this subscriber special, I wanted to go through the games collection, pull them out, and then talk about the top 10 games and some of the runner-ups I've chosen. This is an extremely difficult list. There's a lot of things on this list that I knew were gonna be there, and they have been there for over, 15 years at this point. I've had a very set of games. Some things really surprised me on this list, and it was really hard to make. Nostalgia compromised a lot of these choices. This is no definitive best games ever. This is my personal opinion of games that I've played over the last 20 some odd years and things that have really stuck with me in that time. So without further ado, guys, sit back, relax, and let's get into it.
Number 10, Mario Kart DS. Now, I have a lot of the Mario Kart games, and I've been playing them since the 90s. Really big fan of this series, but I have to say my favorite Mario Kart entry is Mario Kart DS, and for reasons purely based on nostalgia, like basically this entire list. But I remember when the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection on the DS, its online play, was a brand new feature, and Mario Kart was the first game to launch with that. And we didn't have Wi-Fi, nobody in the neighborhood did, so we would take the back road train tracks up to the McDonald's and get like one McDouble in a water cup and fill it with pop, and we would just play for hours and hours, and we would routinely get told to leave by management. We were just kids, and it was so much fun at the time playing it, at school and everything, and it was a great entry with so many nostalgic memories for me. And now with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe being portable, obviously this game does not hold a candle to other people maybe, but to me, it's definitely earning a spot in my top 10 list. Number 9, Super Monkey Ball 2. This was one of the first games that I remember sort of getting competitive with myself playing. I was introduced to this game through a cousin of mine, and we would play a lot of the mini games. And when I realized there was a story mode and then a beginner, advanced, and expert levels to play, I had to get this game for myself. And it was actually the first game I broke a controller playing. I chucked it right at the wall, and it was such a fun time, though. I was so angry, but it was such a fun game to master, and it had great graphics for the time, and I love the momentum of your monkey ball. Take that how you will. But it's such a fun game to play, and anybody I introduce this game to instantly becomes a fan. It's one of the best multiplayer games of all time, and I would love to have a 2019 Switch online version. How cool would that be? Number 8, Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. I always loved platforming games growing up because I started off on Super Nintendo, and then the N64 was my first personal system, and it was platforming galore. Always been a huge Mario fan, but then I got my PlayStation 2, and I played Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus for the first time. And I gotta tell you, its mix of platforming and stealth gameplay combined with really funny and great memorable attachment, characters you can get attached to. It was such a fun game at the time. I loved collecting all of the question mark bottles to unlock the safes at the end of every level. Another fun thing that I tested myself with. When I was younger, I didn't really like to, 100% games, but this was one of the first games that I really got into collecting things. Love collectathons, and Sly Cooper is a great series. I wish there were more games in lieu of the first one, but the first one is my all-time personal favorite, and the other ones are really good too. Number 7, Final Fantasy X. This was a hard one to put because I almost was going to put Final Fantasy IV. Huge fan of that game. but Final Fantasy X was really my first introduction to the series. I was a little bit too young to really care about turn-based RPGs when Final Fantasy VII was really in its peak. It wasn't something that I really cared about. I was much more of a Nintendo fan being younger at that time. And when I got my PlayStation 2, I was exposed to more games, and RPGs was one of those genres, and Final Fantasy X was the jumping point for me. I remember seeing the cover for this game, and I could get a greatest hits game for $20, and it was finally in that red bin with red labels at the local Target. And I picked up the game, and I've been loving that game ever since. The cheesy dialogue and all. Call this game a bit linear. Final Fantasy 13 is more linear. You're always going to find some kind of an argument there. But personally, Final Fantasy X takes the nostalgic cake for me. I absolutely love this game. Number 6, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Now, it's kind of funny. In this day and age, the game is rebranded as Call of Duty Modern Warfare, dropping the 4 and starting off that new franchise. But when Call of Duty 4 came out, this was actually the 4th Call of Duty I played. I've been playing them since Finest Hour on the PS2, and it's been a series I've been into, not so much anymore, but when I was younger, it was a very big game at the time. And when COD 4 came out, it was so revolutionary, not just for its graphics and gameplay, but for one reason: the online was so good. Now, I used to be a huge fan of the Halo 3 online, but right when I got into COD 4, it just took over my life on any platform. I have it on 360, PS3, the Wii, and the Xbox One. I mean, this is a game that I just got so into. In high school, if you didn't play COD 4 and Halo 3, what were you doing with your time? Really, COD 4 was the first online game I really got addicted to. I mean, the game that I would just skip school to play. It was ridiculous how much time I put into this when I was younger. And the definitive version is on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 and the PC. You have to play the remastered version. It looks fantastic. Number 5, Halo 3. Halo 3, another game, came out the same year as Call of Duty 4, 2007. And again, if you were not playing this game, what were you doing? Everybody was talking about this in school, and it's just so funny. 11 years ago this game came out. Wow, how time flies, guys. And again, the definitive version is on Xbox One with the Master Chief Collection. Looks so great, plays so wonderfully, and you can play it online. It's got everything. But Halo 3 was my jumping point into the series, and another game playing online, I just loved it so much. Team Doubles was my absolute favorite. I mean, what a game mode. So much fun. And at the time of Halo 3's launch, it was the biggest launch entertainment piece in history. It was bigger, well, GTA obviously has surpassed that at this point, but Halo 3 was a huge deal when it came out. And if the franchise had ended like it was supposed to at this point, I think that was a pretty good last hurrah. Huge fan of Halo 3. Number 4, The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. Another game where I first really enjoyed the series. Not first played it, but really enjoyed it was on the Nintendo Wii in 2006. When the Wii launched, I got a lot of games for it that year. It was a big Christmas for me. Absolutely loved it. It was pretty popular in the neighborhood, shall we say, when we got the Wii. But one game in particular that Christmas was Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. I played Ocarina, I played Link to the Past, I played Minish Cap, but I never really truly cared about a Zelda game the way I did with Twilight Princess. And it was probably because of the Wii hardware, because I was so excited to use that Wii remote. At that time, motion controls seemed like a huge wave of the future, and we all know what happened with that. But in 2006, that was crazy. Being able to control Link with the Wii remote was like a dream, and I loved the darkness of this game. It was such a more adult take on the series. It had a much different tone overall than Ocarina. It was so great, and at the time, I felt really cool playing this game, and ever since then, I have liked the series more, but I have to say, Breath of the Wild is a great game too, but nostalgically, we gotta go with that. Number 3, Super Mario Odyssey. I had to put a super modern game on this list, guys, and when I thought about that, it was a clear choice. Super Mario Odyssey. This game is the first game that feels like a really true successor to Super Mario 64. And when I first played this game, I was blown away, not just by the graphics, not just by the fact that there's a new gameplay mechanic, aka possession. This game is just so vast. 999 moons to collect. I have 500 right on the dot, and I don't even know where to look next. I mean, this game is just insane. I absolutely love it, and I haven't loved a Mario game since Super Mario 64 and the way Odyssey had just taken over me. Such a fun game, and I got so addicted to it. I love all the different outfits. I love decorating the Odyssey with all the stickers. I love just unfolding each new kingdom and seeing what it has to offer, just running into stars without even trying. It's just such moons, shall I say. This is the new one. Such a fun game, guys, and I highly recommend this game. I did not think I was going to like it as much as I did, but I really enjoyed this game. Really, guys, you got to pick it up. Number 2. Okay, so these next 2 games, I have to stop, and we got to talk about this for a quick second here, because the second game is, in my heart, my number 1 favorite game ever. It truly is. Nostalgia really wants me to say number 1, but I have to say that number 2 on this list is going to be Super Mario 64. This game was my number 1 game for probably about 20 years. There was no other game that topped this in charm, in fun, in replayability. To me, at that point, maybe number 1 doesn't have the same charm, but this game was just, there's a lot of nostalgia that goes into it. It was the first game I ever beat. It was the first game I ever mastered, and I loved this game. And it was the first game I could show off in front of people, and I loved it, and I've been a huge Mario fan ever since. I wear a Mario hat practically every day. It's kind of my thing, and we do focus on Nintendo a lot on this channel because I love Super Mario 64. So there's not too much to say about this game that hasn't already been said other than what it means to me personally. Now, number 1. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, and no, it is not a joke. I don't care how many versions of this game are released. I don't care if you can play it on your Amazon Alexa and it's a joke. I love this game. I fell in love with it, and I've been playing it ever since. It is such a fun game. It is so vast. It is the first game that literally made me say, like, holy crap, where am I even going to go next? And when I go to that place, what am I going to get sidetracked by? What dungeon am I going to find that's going to lead me to an NPC that's going to lead me to find one of the best enchanted weapons in the game that money can't buy, which I can later sell? There's just so much to do in this game, and the replayability is just totally infinite. Each version I play, I find something new to do, and I find a new character build to try. I find new dungeons to explore, new shouts that I prefer. It's just a game that each time I play it, it just gets better and better. Yes, it's a buggy engine, and it is not perfect. Yes, Bethesda's really in the, really in the red right now with Fallout 76 and all their blunders. But this game just, I love going to Skyrim. Like, when I'm having a bad day, I can load up that character of Unsweetened Tea, and I can just save the world. It's so much fun, so immersive. If I played this game in VR, I probably would not leave the house. I absolutely love this game, and I can't stop playing it. So Skyrim has officially become my favorite game of all time. Time for the runner-ups. The Super Mario Bros. Classic series of Mario 1, 2, 3, and World. Gotta say I love 3. Now, Condemned and Condemned 2, such good games in the 360. This is one of my first favorite personal horror games of all time. Love this game, absolutely. And Condemned 2 is a pretty good sequel. You can get it on PS3 as well. Animal Crossing New Leaf. I've loved every Animal Crossing game, but so many memories with this game, with Mrs. T, actually. This game was very fun, and I've put hundreds of hours into it at this point. Can't wait for the Switch release. Now that's going to take over my life. Ooh, the GTA series. GTA 3 is my personal favorite. That was the first biggest sandbox game I ever played, and it blew my mind at the time. And the series just, it's like a fine wine. It keeps getting really, really good with age. Love that series. Ooh, Elder Scrolls 4. If I love Skyrim, I gotta love this game. Graphics and all. Love it. One of my favorites, and it's so cheesy, and I love it. It's like a bad Lord of the Rings. Ooh, Final Fantasy. Gotta throw a nod to all these in here. Love Final Fantasy IV. That's an absolute personal favorite of mine. I love them on PlayStation, as you can see here. What do we got? We got the BioShock series. Had to give that one a nod. Love these games. As you can see, love a lot of games from the 7th generation. The Jak and Daxter series is also phenomenal, but I have to say that my favorite is the Precursor Legacy. Naughty Dog really knocked it out of the park with this franchise. Mortal Kombat Trilogy, you guys see this in my intro all the time. That's a good game. That's a fun one. Ooh, Breath of the Wild. Had to throw this one in here. One of the best games ever made. So much fun.
Okay guys, took a little bit longer than I thought to get all this together, but it was a really important video for me to make, to show you guys my top 10 games and the runner-ups. This is a video that's, 20 some odd years in the making. I've been playing games and collecting them just as long, and it's a really big passion and really big hobby of mine. It means something to me, and it's something I like to share with you guys, because I know you guys feel extraordinarily similar. This list is really hard to make. I had to start at number 1 and 2, because I kind of knew what they were, and then kept working my way up the list, and then I created my runner-ups from those. I was crossing things on and adding them off, and nostalgia really cements a lot of these choices, but I could have easily made a top 100. So anyway guys, stick around for more content. As always, thanks for watching, thanks for taking time out of your day for watching, and as always, happy gaming.